Alright folks, let's talk about what's new in Android Oreo. So Android Oreo got released like maybe a couple of weeks ago. Today is the middle of September or maybe September 22nd, and it recently released for latest phones, and most of the manufacturers will update to Android Oreo soon for their latest handsets, and there are a lot of things new for developers. So we're going to be covering all the new stuff. So this is just at a glance, if you see that more button, it is really more. There's a lot. So there is a picture in picture, there is notification dots, then there is a channels, then there is autofill framework, auto-sizing, text view, fonts in XML, downloadable fonts, icons, shortcut, wide gamut color support, web view features, Java 8 features, media features, multi-display support. There's a bunch of them. There's more. So, but we are not going to cover all of this, but at least majority of this in this one. So we'll see what is there, and then maybe another training or something we'll deep dive into each one individually. All right, so the first one we're going to talk about is all the platform updates. The platform updates are like code. You don't see them, visibly. They are not like UI changes, but they will affect the way the apps are, utilized on the platform. So the first one is background location updates. With this update, your background, the location updates to the apps will be less frequent. So as soon as your app goes to background, your GPS notifications will slow down. So you won't get as much. It will be accurate, but you won't get that many updates. The reason is they want to save battery. In order to give you that updates frequently, they need to keep the GPS on. That drains the battery. So now they will be less frequent as soon as the app goes in the background. As long as you keep it in the forefront like Waze or Google Maps or any other maps, you will get constant updates as a developer to your app. But as soon as it goes in the background, it will be less frequent. Another one is Wakelock. So now if you're a developer, you know what Wakelock means. You need to keep that, for your apps to be in the background and running and receiving data and all that. So now the lock will be released automatically when the app has no activity or active activity or service. If the activity gets killed, or the user throws the activity away, the app away from the active memory, the Wakelock will be released. So this also speeds up the processor underneath, so it doesn't, the OS becomes responsive. And then previously you can actually get all kinds of permissions about a user, before Android Oreo. With this change, now there is a new account chooser activity that you launch and then ask the user to give you permissions. So the permission model is getting tightened up more. People are doing all kinds of things, without requesting the user's real permission because they had access to it. Now they are trying to clamp down, the Google team, the Android team, so that you need to put this chooser up. The chooser will show what are all the things that you want to do with the permission. The user will decide whether they want to give access or not. Then you need to make sure that you can do yes or no, based on what the user says. And then background execution limits, can no longer register for explicit broadcasts. There are a bunch of them. Previously, people were going whole hog, registering all kinds of things. Now you can no longer just register for those, but there are some exceptions like boot completed or locale changed. You can still register for those broadcasts and you will still get them, but all other explicit broadcasts no more. So you cannot register them. So it's another clamping down and tightening the executions, because again people are doing all kinds of things, trying to register for all kinds of events. When the app's starting or when the device comes up and things like that. So now they're trying to clamp down on that. And same, background apps cannot start services. This is a major one. This is also another, tightening up the platform. Use one of the following in order to start a service. You have to have explicit background broadcast receivers. You need to have a job service, or you need to have a Firebase cloud messaging sending you a message, or a start foreground API is a brand new API introduced in Oreo. So you can say, okay, I want to start a service, then call this start foreground API. So the background apps without any UI cannot start a new service. Okay. And then here's another behind the scenes change. A lot of these new OLED displays, like especially the Samsung the Galaxy phones, the OLED displays have wide gamut display, which means vibrant color, more colors than the LCDs can display. Previously, the Android display was optimized for LCDs. The team didn't spend time too much to optimize for OLED, but now they are optimized the OLED display. And like Galaxy Note 8 or any Samsung Galaxy products, longer, narrower display support. You have a 6-inch phone, bezel-less phone, goes all the way up to the top and all the way to the bottom. So that gets supported. You don't need to even set max aspect ratio anymore. So it will adjust automatically. Your app will, basically adjust the display, and it supports the wide gamut display completely. And there is a project called Project Treble. This is basically helps the vendors of handsets to update drivers and things like that independent of the OS. Previously, it's baked in, so you have to send the whole update of the OS in order to update. Now you don't need, if you have a new driver for your graphics, let's say something is crashing on your driver, you don't need to send the whole OS update. You just send the driver update and the driver gets updated after Project Treble. It is available in Oreo. So if you get Oreo, this is already built in. They created a layer now. There is a hardware abstraction layer. On top, there is a OS layer, and that OS layer now is separate Project Treble. And this will give you that kind of flexibility for the vendor. Mostly it is for vendors. It's invisible, but they don't need to send you a whole huge update, and they can just send those drivers only. A classic example is the graphics drivers. All right, and then now switching to UI, there are some notification channels improvement. There are notification dots. People used to buy launcher apps in order to get those dots. Apple users are used to getting the numbers or dots and things like that. It was not available by default in the Android world. You need to buy a launcher or get a free launcher which has built-in support for notification numbers or notification dots. Now with Android Oreo, any notification that your app receives, there'll be a dot displayed. It doesn't show the numbers, but at least the dot is displayed. That's one feature. The second feature is channels. It's basically categories. It's a user-facing name is channels, but a developer-facing this thing is categories. So you can send your notification with multiple categories, and the users can choose which category they want to allow, which category they want to deny. Now it's a wholesale deny. So and the app can be completely shut down from notification. If you swipe to the right and say block all, then you are completely blocked. Right now, this will allow only this category. I don't want this is too much coming in, so I want to stop it. But the rest can still come through. So we'll have more flexibility. Okay, and starting Android Oreo, any notification update, new apps must use channels. Otherwise, your notification won't show up. So that's one of the requirements. That's why I need to add that line. And there is also app widget pinning. The pinning of the widget used to be like begging the user. So when you see when you have a widget available for your app, and you put a small bubble or something saying that please go to the widget section in your launcher and then find my widget and then pin it to the home screen. That's so far is what it has been. But starting now Oreo, the launcher can now support directly. So you can allow it to say, you want me to pin this to your home screen, and then boom, you can just pin it from directly there. So some of these we can show later on, but your app now can support. You can say go for available option as one of the option. Then let's talk about picture-in-picture mode. You see there are two pictures here. One is in the home screen, another one is on an app, so I'm showing both. So it can go to the home screen also while you receive a call, or maybe you are on Google Maps driving, but you got a call. You can minimize that to a small window and can still continue to talk and still see the driving instructions. Same way, you are watching another app, important app, a call comes through, you can still take it. And picture-in-picture is available on many apps now from Android Oreo, but your app can also take advantage of these new APIs, picture-in-picture mode APIs. Okay, and then the most important, exciting feature is the fonts feature. So previous to Android Oreo, the number of fonts were limited by default, in a device. So if you want to submit a new font or something, you need to bundle the whole font in your app. And then let's say if your app is already big, and then you bundle 10 fonts, your app APK size will be huge. Not only that, every individual developer needs to do the same. Now with Android Oreo, what they did is, now you can go and download a Google font, Google supported font. It will download to the system, make it available for all apps. So if you get one font downloaded for your app, other apps, if they use it, they all benefit. So it doesn't add it to your APK. It does it at the runtime, so it saves a lot of things. But now it supports 800 plus fonts. So you can go whole hog on that, say that 800 plus fonts. And number two is fonts inside XML. You can create a new resource type called font. and you can declare a new font entirely in XML, with bold and italics, all kinds of things you can specify, and you can ship it with your app, and it will get created at runtime, and it will be available for you. So these two are fantastic new features that is available starting Oreo. All right, then another one is text auto-sizing. Previously, if you try to expand your text view, the text will stay same as the font size that you set. And with this, you can now, auto size happens on the text view. So if your text view expand it, maybe you are doing some animation, some zoom, your text view expands, the text inside the view also will expand automatically. So that's available. If you just add this, auto size text type is equal to uniform, you're done. That one line, boom, your text view, depending on what animations you are doing or what the user is doing and all that, can expand, and the sizing will happen automatically. You don't need to do anything extra. One line code. And another one is adaptive icons. This is again available on some launchers. Now made it available at the platform level. So if you see you have an input, then you can add any mask. Most of the times, the OS manufacturers tweak this, with their own launcher. Every not OS manufacturers. Let me take it back. The device manufacturers have their own skin on the launcher, right? Galaxy has a type of launcher, HTC has a type of launcher, OnePlus, that the phone I use, has a type of a launcher. Everybody has either a rounded ones or a squared corners or rounded corners or even a full circle. Now it is available by default at the OS level, so that you can make your launcher prettier. And adaptive icons available for all apps, and you have input, then you put a mask, you can see, and there is animations inside the mask also. The icon can jump. If you go to the web page, I have it in the reference. There is some examples where actually you can see the head of this Android thing jumps up and down inside that small icon. So you can do all those fancy things now. And another new important feature added to is something called Android Audio, A audio. That there's not a typo. It is A audio, but that's why I need to put it in a bracket, Android Audio. Otherwise, it looks like a typo. No, it's a new graphics, audio layer. It's a native API for low latency apps. It also has real-time synthesis, so your audios will pop starting Android Oreo because it has a native built-in audio apps, and most of these podcast apps and the music apps will really greatly benefit from this API, new API. And then there are a bunch of changes done to WebView. So Chrome is still available as a full web browser, but if your app supports WebView, there is a default mode that you can select and say, hey, I want WebView inside my app. Now with this update, they are adding multi-process mode, which means every tab can be a processor by itself. One of the tab, let's say, occupies all the graphics or even the memory. You can switch to another one, kill the process, and your other browser or tabs will still continue inside your web app, inside your app. And there is also a Google Safe Browsing API, which allows safe browsing inside the web view. There is a termination handle API, so you'll get when the user moves away from a web page, you'll get notifications on those. A renderer importance API, which parts to render, and when there is a low system resource, what you need to render, the web view or your app. All those things you can make calls, and that's what this one will provide you. Okay. And then another major important thing for developers with Android Oreo is something called architecture components. This is still in beta. It was in alpha before, now it's in beta. This talk, it doesn't cover this because architecture components can itself be a 1 hour talk. And I plan to do that pretty soon, with a live demo, because it comes with lots of choices about for data management, workflow of your activities, lifecycle management, and things like that. So the architecture components also is a prescription now on how you architect your app. Previously, it is free fall. You can choose any architecture type you want, MVC, MVVM, all kinds of things. So now they are prescribing, the Google team or Android team is prescribing, hey, if you follow these components, if you follow this blueprint, your app will be performing better. So they have multiple components inside these architecture components. It's a 1 hour talk, certainly. Pretty fun talk, but we'll do some other day. But it is available, just know, as Android Oreo time. It is available for developers, and I think it's highly recommended for brand new apps to start following these guidelines. So that is why it's like a long talk we'll do on some other day. These are design patterns, prescriptions, and also components that you can use readily for data management, lifecycle management, and view models and things like that. So, right, and then yeah, quick plug to Oswald's again another the course, free course, Kotlin course. You can go here and download and register for it, and you get access to it free. The reason why I put it on this slide is that Kotlin is now officially supported language. Starting like Android Studio 3.0, it's another addition to the developers ecosystem, and not just Java. Now you can do it in Kotlin. That is why I put it here. Kotlin support is now first-class support. It's starting in Android Studio 3.0, and you can write Android Oreo apps or other Android apps also, like Marshmallow and things like that, because Kotlin is fully supported inside Android Studio, just like Java. So if you want to learn more about it, we have a free course on that. Again, like architecture component, which is like an hour long. This course is like 2 hours long. So you go ahead, register, and you can learn a lot of things about Kotlin, and also Kotlin for Android. There are two different things. Kotlin in general is a general purpose language, but it is modified to support Android. So there is Kotlin, and there is Kotlin for Android. So this course will cover for both. Okay, and our goal is to make you an advanced beginner. So. And then there is much more. Seriously, if I scroll the page that I have a reference. The next one, there is a lot more materials. There are small tweaks that is really useful for developers. It will delight the customer or the user when you utilize in your app. And please take a look at this reference. It is official Android reference for Android Oreo 8.0.html. If you click on this and go through all the features, there is a bunch of them. It will certainly make your app hop. With all the features that they added. With that, I am done.